Hey folks. Oh my goodness. Alrighty. Sorry, I'm a bit tired. But anyway, folks, so I just got back from seeing Furiosa Mad Max saga. I know I'm late to the party here with this one here, but me and my family tonight, finally got the chance to go see it, and I figured to go ahead and give you folks an immediate review of what I thought of the film and everything, honestly, because it was different from what I expected. And plus, it's been a huge minute since we done a movie review here. So, anyway, Furiosa Mad Max saga. Honestly, I gotta say, it was very different from what I was expecting. Now, I'm not a huge Mad Max fan, but I definitely like I don't go crazy over it like my dad, but I do know it well enough and everything. If you don't know what Mad Max is, it's pretty much set in a post-apocalyptic desert wasteland world, and the specialty is like oil, gas, and they use like fire vehicles to pretty much get around. It's pretty much Fallout, like Fallout New Vegas. Think of it that way, but it's set in a wasteland desert and shit went to hell pretty much. So anyway, I wasn't originally too interested in seeing this film because the trailers didn't get me intrigued by it, and honestly, I felt like this film at first was just gonna be a dumb cash in or a feminine agenda thing of a beloved property, and pretty much just pretty much social media or agenda and stuff trying to shit on a beloved property and whatnot. But honestly, that's not the case. It was pretty damn decent from what I thought it was. So it starts off with the character, the woman named Furiosa. If you folks haven't seen Mad Max Fury World, there's a side character named Furiosa. She has like a robotic engine arm, and she's pretty much a badass survivor and everything. And honestly, I felt that was pretty good. Everything was pretty good. There were some scenes I felt that definitely dragged on. It was a long ass film. It was like easily 2.5 hours. But the side note that still annoys me about the damn movie theaters is the freaking 20-30 minute previews. Like, legit 90% of the films that were showcasing before the film started, I just was not interested in. And that's kind of another thing too, is I figured to go ahead and try it out, give it a shot, see what it's like, since my dad really wanted to see it, and I wasn't too sure, but I'm like, you know what, let's give it a shot, because there's not like anything else that I really want to go see. Um, a lot of films haven't really been getting me interested in going to the movies, but I'm glad I checked out this one here, and it really wasn't that too bad, honestly, from what I thought. The film's really great. The film is beautiful looking. I love the environment and everything. So, overall, before spoilers, I gotta say, it was really decent, pretty good. Much better than I expected. It was really good, really decent. If you folks are a fan of Mad Max, I'd say go ahead and check it out. Give it a shot yourselves. And now we're gonna cut on into the spoilers here. So if you don't want spoilers, then click off this video here. Even though I'm a bit late to the party here. So pretty much, how the film starts is that it starts off with Furiosa as a little girl, and it's set in Australia. And one of the things that I liked about the beginning of it, with the all intros and everything and shit, is that you don't really see it, but you hear the different broadcasts, like I guess throughout the world or whatever, of the world going to shit. I think it was I don't think it was global warming, but I think it was like a drought or whatever. Something happened with the world, and like natural disasters, and the world pretty much went to complete utter shit, and now everyone else is trying to scavenge and pretty much survive for the world. So it starts off with Furiosa as a little girl, a kid, and she pretty much is in like this, this sacred jungle, which I found kind of a bit odd, but I guess it was like at the dead center. of Australia or whatever, and there's like water around it and stuff, and there's like a jungle, and it's like legit just a random forest or jungle just plopped in the middle of this wasteland desert, which I still find kind of a bit confusing, but you know what? Okay, whatever. I guess I can throw away, geography or whatever, nature, whatever. So anyway, so she's in this jungle hill, and there was some raiders or whatever that came in, that came by. Like, they killed someone, and they were like scavenging for, the parts or whatever, because it's all in survival and everything. And while she was cutting off one of the bikes, the oil lines of the bikes, she she cuts one of them. She ends up getting caught and captured and everything, and so her mom chases them down, and through and everything, this bearded captain, the leader of the raiders or whatever, I'm crappy with names or whatever, but legit Thor himself, the actual actor that plays Thor in the Marvel films, Chris Hemsworth, I think that's his name or whatever. He's in this film, and he did a pretty decent job. So anyway, he comes over, and he helps her out and everything, but kills off he kills off her homeland or whatever, and pretty much takes her and kind of raises her as her own. But then she escapes pretty much, and she meets up with another group and everything. There's a lot of stuff to it, and honestly, I'm probably gonna have to rewatch Furiosa Mad Max, which came out all the way back in 2015. Holy shit, by the way. But it was overall a pretty interesting and unique film. It was definitely long. It was pretty violent too. It was more of a fill in the blank of the violent rather than the actual gore violent, which I don't mind too much and everything. The film was also pretty long as hell, like I said, on clocking in like at over 2 hours and everything. And honestly, I do have a headache. That's why I'm wearing my hat kind of weird without my glasses, because I am freaking tired. But I didn't want to leave you folks hanging yet again for a second day in a row. I'm like, you know what? Let's go ahead and see this film, and I want to overall give my thoughts and everything. Immortal Joe is back. You know that big white guy with the freaking plastic chest thing, whatever. He's got badges and everything. He's got the jaw, teeth, skull mask and everything. He's, that it's kind of like Bane in a sense from Batman. He's back. He did pretty well. There was a couple of other characters that I couldn't quite remember their names. There was this one guy that was like in a suit. He was like bald and everything, but he was like in an actual old fashioned 1800 suit or whatever, but like his nipples were displayed, had like a chain around it or whatever. Just kind of weird, goofy stuff like that. But the story was overall pretty decent, and honestly, I gotta say I'm overall happy with what I saw and everything. So overall, the only complaint that I do have and that I will say is the ending climax of it. So pretty much through and everything, she what happens pretty much midway through is that eventually when she does get captured by the other gang, Immortal Joe and everything, she disguised herself as a boy or whatever, kind of a nobody, kind of like with Mulan, I guess, in a sense, because she cuts her long hair and everything and pretty much disguises herself as a nobody, and she pretty much kind of stuffs her way in, and she blends in for like years and years of this, and no one didn't really know or anything about who she was and everything. So eventually she does get caught, and she gets caught with her love interest boyfriend or whatever. There's this guy that she meets up with, and they kind of team up together as a cute duo and everything, and he ends up getting killed off and everything, and she ends up getting captured. and the only way she escaped is by cutting off her own arm. That's how she gets a robotic arm too. Is that when she meets at the Immortal Joe place or something, whatever, she gets a robotic. She builds herself a robotic arm through motorcycle engines and stuff. And the ultimate climax is where she kills off Chris Hemsworth, and he's the pretty much the ultimate traitor that kills off her original home game or whatever, I believe. Yeah, pretty much. And he pretty much was like selfish and everything, and I guess he wanted to take over Gastown for himself. Gastown's pretty much like the main HQ heart or whatever of this whole wasteland apocalypse or whatever. It's where all of the richest resources are and everything, and it's like the number one fortress in the world, apocalyptic fortress. So he wanted that, pretty much all to himself and everything, I believe, and by around the end and everything, so and so, she ends up meeting Harrison Ford one last time. I forgot the actual character's name or whatever, so I'm just calling him by the actor Harrison Chris. Not Harrison Ford. What am I talking about? Chris Hemsworth. Jeez, this isn't Star Wars or Blade Runner. Oh, I am tired. So goddamn. Anyway, so she meets up with the main antagonist, Chris Hemsworth, and that was kind of honestly kind of dragged on because it kept thinking that he was gonna die, but he didn't because he drives off with his last army crew, whatever, and so she kills off both of them, through her, fancy car and everything that someone gave her, and so he sinks into a this giant sinkhole, quicksand, whatever. But then no, he's okay again. Then he drives into the sandstorm, and he's ended up being fine again and everything. And she just kind of taunts him and everything. So that kind of chit chat and everything. She puts the gun to his head. The weird fancy whatever the hell fist wrist gun thing, whatever. Puts it to his head, and so then he turns around, da da da, whatever, something, and then she walks around with the gun pointing to his forward head and everything, and she just hits him, bitch slaps him a couple of times with the gun, and I'm like, just shoot him already, just blow his brains out for God's sake already. You took everything, just freaking do it, pop his brains or some shit, but nah, something whatever, and so he ends up I think dehydrating or bleeding out or something whatever. He finally dies off, and the ending, eventually at the very very end, she meets up with Mad Max himself and everything. That's the only complaint that I do have, honestly, because it just drags on, and it's like, just kill him already, because he took everything, and he's selfish, and he wants all the fuel and resources and shit all to himself and everything, and it's like, just shoot him already. He's right there. He literally has nothing. Just do it already. So yeah, that's the only minor complaint I have with it, other than the length. But overall, the film was the film was really good. Like I said, everything was very beautiful and good and everything. Some of the characters were pretty decent. I forgot what that other sister's name was. Excuse me. At the beginning. But overall, I gotta say, the film was decent. Like I said, I'm not the biggest Mad Max fan. My dad is a huge ass Mad Max. He's seen the Mad Max since he's seen the 1970s Mad Max and Fury Road Mad Max. Fury Road's pretty much like a reboot of the series or franchise or whatever, and this one here is a side story and also a prequel towards it, from what I imagine and understand and everything. So yeah, I just want to go ahead and give my thoughts and views on a movie, since it's been a minute since I last done a movie review and everything, and I want to know, have you folks seen Furiosa and everything? What do you folks think of the film? Did you like it? Did you not like it so much? Honestly, my expectations were completely different because, like I said, the trailers didn't really intrigue me, and I just thought at first I was just gonna be some crappy cash grab of some women empowerment or whatever. It's still like that to an extent, but it's not like in a way that I feel kind of degrades or shoves away the side story or characters or whatever. It's one of those things I feel that it's kind of earned. It doesn't shove down on like men or anything. It's not like a hate letter to males or whatever, like I thought it was at first, just because of a quote beloved franchise or whatever, like what I've seen with X Men and Marvel, those kind of films or whatever. So yeah, my expectations were different, and they were definitely surprised. And while this film isn't my highest, and I'm not the huge fan of Mad Max, I will give credit where it is due. And I felt like overall this film was pretty good and decent to watch. So I'm curious to know what you folks think of it and what you folks thought of it and everything. And yeah, that's pretty much it, folks. I think I'm gonna go ahead and lie down and rest because my head's freaking pounding as hell, and I had way too much freaking soda. So yeah, folks. Let me know what you folks thought of the film. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you folks think of the film if you saw it? So, yeah. With all that being said and out of the way, folks, thank you all so much for watching. And I'll see you all sooner or later. Bye bye, everyone.